Welcome, everyone. Just bear with me for a moment. Right, I will call the meeting to order, the time being 5:31 p.m. Can we get a mover and a seconder to open the meeting, please? David and John, it's been moved and seconded that the August 3rd, 2023 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be open, the time being 5:32 p.m. Anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none, that is moved forward. Can we get a mover and a seconder for the agenda, please? Gordon and Elizabeth says Sarah, but I know better. It's been moved and seconded that this actually says July, Sarah, on this resolution. But we know that it's the August 3rd, 2023 public meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved. Anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none, that moves forward. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest in tonight's proceedings from members of the board? Seeing none, we will move forward. Carrie, our applications, let us know what they are and where we go with them.
Okay, thank you. So the first application this evening is a application for a lot addition from Stephen Kathleen Josephson for the property known locally as 82 North Branch Road. The intent of the proposed addition is to transfer approximately 2 hectares of land from 82 North Branch Road to 110 North Branch Road. Notice signs were posted on the property on July 20th, 2023, circulated to neighboring properties within 60 meters of the proposal, as well as circulated to agencies as stipulated by the Planning Act 14 days prior to this evening's meeting. The subject property has frontage on North Branch Road in Gorham Township, is designated as rural in the official plan and zoned rural in the zoning bylaw. The properties are abutted by additional rural lots with I'm not sure that it's named, but there is a current river flowing through the west side of the property. The proposed lot addition doesn't affect area or setback minimums negatively for either lots. Both will remain legal. We received agency comments from Enbridge stating that there are service lines in that area, so they should call before they do any type of construction. And we received comments from Hydro One stating that they have no comments or concerns. And we did not receive any comments from the public. So it would be my recommendation that the application for a lot addition be approved with the usual conditions, which for a lot addition are only 3. One being the original executed transfer deed of land form be provided. 2, a schedule to the transfer deed of land form, setting out the entire legal description of the new parcel in question and containing the names of the parties indicated on the transfer documents be provided. And the 3rd being a survey.
Thank you for that. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in favor of this application this evening?
I'm here as the 110 North Branch representative. I don't know if I need to speak at all. Obviously, I'm in favor of this. I don't know if if there's anything you need me to say.
Okay, no, thanks for being on. And if we have any questions from the board, it's good you're here if you need some clarification on something. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, I will ask if anyone would like to speak in opposition to this application. And hearing no one answering that call, I will ask the board if there is any questions for Carrie or for the applicant. Go ahead, David.
Carrie, so you said OPG said everything was good, like with the river and no floodplain issues for the people and stuff like that, just because I've seen they've come down on us recently with a plan of like 1,000-year flood, and it's taking over certain parcels of land that we're disputing.
The LRCA, you mean?
No, OPG actually told us that it was part of what they considered to be a floodplain, a new flood, and we were going to need different stuff. So as long as OPG said it was all good, I guess, then I'm fine with it. I just don't want to see the people get hurt in any particular way or come back on for anything.
No, absolutely. We definitely didn't receive comment from them. So, yeah.
And we currently like live on this area and we are up high. This parcel isn't like, yeah, so we've never had warning for that when we purchased our land a few years ago. So that's new to me also, what you're saying about the OPG thing. Because what we would be getting, hopefully, like no building or dwelling would be going there or exists near there.
Okay. I just don't want to see anybody get stranded for any reason because OPG came in later and said, oh, no, this is part of a floodplain that we didn't tell everyone about. That's basically what's just with our area. We just had like a little bit of an area that is now larger than what we expected to be part of a floodplain because of their new 1,000-year flood prediction stuff. So just as long as, like I said, I just don't want to see anybody who owns a property or potentially getting the property run into any issues from them.
They've never commented on a file that we've presented ever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anyone else who'd like to ask questions or has a need for clarification? Seeing none, we will move on to the second application.
Sorry, Bernie, before we continue, there is one person on the call who I don't know who they are. If the person registered as Marg's iPhone could provide their full name so that we know how to reach out to you after the fact with decisions, that would be great.
That's actually my mother-in-law, Margaret Bevilacqua. That's her last name, same spelling as mine. We just wanted to make sure we weren't missing this meeting. My mother's also on the line. We got all our representatives here today.
Okay, is Lynn on the line for you as well?
Yeah, that's
Correct,
right.
yes.
That's me, Lynn Tebow. Yeah, obviously I'm in favor of it, but just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Bernie.
No problem. It looks like Marge is having a much more interesting day than the rest of us because she's moving somewhere.
Yes.
Alrighty. Second application.
Right. So our second application this evening is from Jamie and Patricia Puachoff for the land known locally as 295 Smith Road in O'Connor Township. This application is proposing to create one new lot with 32 hectares, leaving a retained parcel of 24 hectares. The application was circulated to neighboring properties within 60 meters of the subject property. Notice was posted on the property, and agencies required through the Planning Act were circulated by email 14 days prior to this evening. Subject property is fronting on Smith Road, is designated as rural in the official plan and zoned rural in the zoning bylaw. For clarification purposes, the map that was provided on the notice, as well as in your packages this evening, MPAC has Smith Road listed as Hearthstone Road. You may have noticed that. It did provide a little bit of confusion for O'Connor Township. In addition to that, the retained lot is the portion that's on the south side of the lot, and the new lot is the proposed lot showing on the north side of the lot. So the sketch is a little bit confusing with the wrong road name and everything, but where it says Hearthstone Road on the west side, that is Smith Road. Just for clarification there. So the property is abutted by additional rural lots. The proposed severed and retained lots meet both the area and frontage requirements of the rural zone. An entrance permit for the new lot will be required from O'Connor Township office if one does not already exist. We received agency comments from Hydro One stating that they have no comments or concerns. And we received comments from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority stating that they have no objections, though there is a substantial portion of wetland on the property. That information has been sent to the applicant. We didn't receive any comments from the public. And I did speak with Lorna from O'Connor Township. She informed us that the council isn't meeting until mid-August, so they didn't have the opportunity to provide comment to us. So there's two ways that we can do that. We can still go ahead and make a decision this evening, and they would be able to provide comment during the appeal period. Alternatively, we can just add a condition in that we have to receive the comments from O'Connor Township prior to approval. We've done that before, so it's up to the board how they want to move forward. Either way, I don't see any concerns with the application itself, so my recommendation would be that it be approved. This would be with the typical conditions for the creation of a new lot, which also in this case would include unless previously established, a 20-meter allowance measured 10 meters from the center line of the traveled road be laid out on the survey, and that part be transferred to the township.
Okay, thank you for that. Since we only have board members here, I guess we don't have anyone who's going to speak in favor or in opposition to this application. Do we have any board members that would like some clarification from Carrie? Okay, we'll move on to the third application.
Oh, Axel. Looked
Oh,
like he had-
Axel.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a general question about the road alignment with respect to the lot lines. There's a building, like a residence on the opposite side of the road. And basically the Puachoff lot totally encompasses the road alignment. So I'm just wondering how that person would have access to the property. Would there be an easement across Mr. Puachoff's land to this residence on the west side of Smith Road?
So when I spoke with O'Connor Township about this, what we would typically do, they can, so that part will be surveyed out. So a survey is going to show part one, the road as part two, and then the new lot as part three. And so what the township is going to talk to these applicants about is just accepting part one and two, so that they own all of it, so that the access goes through the township property rather than some private property. Does that make sense? So the road and then anything to the west of the road would be owned by O'Connor Township, so that it doesn't create any access issues.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
So it's all going to depend, obviously, what the survey comes back showing, because these drawings are never super accurate. So there may be more or less property on the other side of the road. So there will be an opportunity there for either we can do it as a merger agreement where parts 1 and 3 can't be sold without the other. That doesn't help access issues though. So then there might be an opportunity for the applicants to sell that land to the parcel to the west. But when I spoke with Lorna from O'Connor, it seemed like the best bet would just be for O'Connor to accept any land west of the road, so that it doesn't present any access issues. So that's going to be in O'Connor's comments likely when we receive them. And then it depends what the survey looks like when it comes back, how we determine how we transfer that land.
Okay. The other question I had was, where does this map information come from? This all comes from Impact?
That's correct,
Impact database? Yeah, because it's kind of out of whack. I'm familiar with this area. I live in the neighborhood, so. Okay. Just trying to think of what else I have. Okay, that's good. Thanks. Okay, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to the last application.
Okay, this one is a validation order. We do these very rarely. The last time we did them, we did one in 2019. So essentially a validation order means that we're correcting something that happened a very long time ago that wasn't done properly according to the Planning Act, and it doesn't show up until people try to sell land. And then it's realized that these properties either don't exist or they don't exist the way that they're supposed to. So it's just a planning act correction that we do to make it legal, and then it gets registered accordingly. So in this case, we received an application from Carson Blackwood, and a lawyer acting as agent on behalf of Dorothy Bellis for the property known locally as 13100 Highway 591 in Gorham Township. On February 25th, 1980, a transfer from someone named Monique was registered with the Land Registry Office, for which no consent appears to have been obtained. Part 2 on the reference plan 55R2163, which is shown in your packages, was transferred to Monique, to Edwin and Judy Canuck on February 25th, 1980. At the time, it appears that Monique also owned abutting land when the transfer was registered without Planning Act consent. Since 1980, the lands have changed hands multiple times, never receiving validation orders to make them legal. The owner of Part 1 now wishes to sell the property, but without legal consent, this cannot be done. The result of this is the application before us tonight, where a request for a validation order is necessary to acknowledge the original severance. Notice is not a requirement of the Planning Act for validation orders, as no new lots are being created. It is simply a legal fix in the background. The subject property fronts on Highway 591, is designated as rural in the official plan and zoned rural in the zoning bylaw. Section 57(1) of the Planning Act allows a council authorized to grant consents the ability to issue what is known as a certificate of validation. These certificates state that a prior contravention of the subdivision control provisions of the Act are deemed to have never had the effect of preventing the conveyance of land or the creation of an interest in land. Put simply, a validation certificate corrects a Planning Act breach that has already occurred, and it turns back the clock to refuse the chain of title. While the authority to grant validation certificates is vested in the council or committee authorized to give consent under Section 53 of the Act, applications for validation certificates are not governed by the same procedural rules, submissions, or notice requirements. This follows logically, as validation certificates do not create a new lot, they only seek to restore previously existing lot lines that were inadvertently lost. Based on all of this information and the maps before you, and because there is no appeal process for validation orders, my recommendation would be that this validation order be accepted. If the board approves this application, a validation certificate can be issued immediately.
Okay, questions, comments, concerns? Go ahead, David.
This validation won't leave the new council, I guess, or planning board with any liability or anything like that, open to any liability? No. Okay.
No, so the lands actually, like as far as impact's concerned, the lands exist. Oh, you're not going to be able to see them because of the blur. As they are in the parcel with the Part 1 and Part 2, these are two separate lots. Legally, they're not. Legally, they're one. So we're just correcting the fact that they're meant to be two.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else for the public meeting, Carrie?
Nothing else from me, no.
We got to move in a second to adjourn the public meeting. David and Axel, it's been moved and seconded that the August 3rd, 2023 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 5:50 p.m. Anyone in opposition to that? Seeing none, we will move into our next meeting. We're going to move in a second to open the next meeting. Elizabeth and Gordon, it's been moved and seconded that the August 3rd, 2023 regular meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be open, the time being 5:51 p.m. Anyone in opposition to that? Seeing none. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the agenda? I'll take David and David. It's been moved and seconded that the August 3rd, 2023 regular meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved. Anyone in opposition to that? Seeing none, that is approved. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest?
I have none.
Thank you. We have none from anyone. We have no deputations. And we do have bylaws to consider. So is there anything to add, Carrie, for the first one?
Nothing to add from me, no.
Okay. We have a resolution before us. Can I get a mover and a seconder for it? Gordon and Elizabeth. It's been moved and seconded. The application 1B/08/23 from Stephen and Kathleen Josephson for the property legally described as Gorham Mining Location R465 RP 55R14735 Part S1 to 3 PCL 12516 TBF in Gorham Township in the geographic district of Thunder Bay as set forth. Will the application be approved with conditions? Is there anyone in opposition to this resolution? Seeing none, it is hereby approved. Now, this one, we need to make a decision about. So we have a resolution before us to approve it, but as Carrie noted during the public meeting, we need to decide whether we would want to actually approve it or have it, I guess, held until the council of the municipality of O'Connor has a chance to look at it. So comments, questions, go ahead, Gordon.
And I think we should just proceed and approve it. They've got the appeal period if they're going to object or put any comments in. But as far as my experience has been, if O'Connor has spent any money on that top end of the road, then the road is theirs, even though not legally transferred to them. And so there'd be no problem with people cannot stop from using it. And if they can then correct it as was suggested, just transfer them the money, transfer them the land, then there won't be a problem down the road, which is pretty normal. So we should just proceed and approve it.
Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
We can also add a condition that we receive comments from O'Connor Township, and it just gets checked off once we've received them. And then if it's necessary based on those comments, we bring the application back at a future meeting to add a condition if it's required. We've done that before. We're actually removing conditions later this evening, so it's not unheard of to do that. It's up to the board.
John?
I don't anticipate any problems with township meeting on this. As long as there's the appeal process, they'd be in favor, I'm sure of it.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, well, we have two people voting to just go ahead with the resolution. So unless someone else is in opposition to that, I will, as written, I will move, ask for a mover and a seconder for this resolution. Okay, we got David and David. It's been moved and seconded. The application 1B/09/23 from Jamie and Patricia Puachoff for the property legally described as concession 3 north of part 3 MR82 PCL 17729 in O'Connor Township in the geographic district of Thunder Bay as set forth. The application be approved with conditions. Is there anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none, that is approved. And the last resolution we have for the public meeting. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this one? Bring it to the floor. Elizabeth and David. It's been moved and seconded that the application 1C/01/23 from Carson Blackwood acting on behalf of Dorothy Bellis for the property legally described as concession 7 south part of lot 18 RP 55R2163 part 2 PCL 19403 TBF Gorham Township in Gorham Township in the geographic district of Thunder Bay as set forth in the application be approved. Is there any more questions or comments on this resolution? Seeing none, is there anyone in opposition to this resolution? Seeing none, this one is now approved. We now can go into our minutes of previous meetings. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the public meeting minutes from July 6th? Axel and David West. It's been moved and seconded that the Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the public meeting minutes of July 6, 2023, regular meeting as presented. Anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none, we will move on to the next set of minutes. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this resolution? John and David. It's been moved and seconded. The Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the regular meeting minutes of July 6, 2023 regular meeting as presented. Anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none, that is hereby approved. What matters do we have arising from the minutes, Carrie?
No matters arising. No matters arising from the minutes tonight.
Okay, thank you for that. Sorry about the background noise. I have employees leaving right now. Reports, financial reports.
So the financial report as of July 26th is in your package. You can see that our checking account has, substantially gone down with the official plan and zoning bylaw review project. We are going to have to look at transferring from our savings account into our checking account to cover further expenses. That's the most substantial difference, really. Everything else is basically up to date. I am expecting to have a bill from the auditor soon, but again, further down in this meeting, we'll be reviewing the draft audit statements. So typically a bill follows us approving those.
Thank you. Next item is notice of public meeting.
Yeah, so we received a notice of public meeting for a zoning amendment happening in municipality of Nebing. I've taken a look at everything. I don't think it impacts us at all. And I don't have any concerns with what they're proposing, but the board is welcome to suggest comments that can be submitted prior to the meeting if they wish.
Is there anyone that would like to add to that comment or have comments submitted? Seeing none, okay, we will move on to the next item, which is new business.
Okay, so the first item under new business, so we reviewed applications 1B0623 and 1B0723 last month that were submitted by Jack Jameson, who was acting as agent for Mr. Parcher. They were both approved without any concerns there, but in the long resolutions, we left the requirement of proof of water and water testing. But O'Connor does not require those conditions. So the resolution before us this evening is just to simply remove conditions 5 and 6 from resolution 50-2023 and conditions 11 and 12 on resolution 51-2023, respecting those water conditions.
Great, so we have a resolution before us. Can I get a mover and a seconder of this resolution? David and John. It's been moved and seconded that condition 5 and 6 of resolution 05-2023 and conditions 11 and 12 in resolution 051-2023 respecting well and water testing requirements be removed. Any comments or questions on this? Oh, go ahead, Gordon.
The building code doesn't require that you prove potable water before you build, but it does require you to prove potable water when you go for occupancy. Since we're only creating a lot, I guess that's outside our jurisdiction. We have nothing to do with what they might do with the land afterwards.
It's the requirement of official plans that guide us through what's required when we're creating a new lot. So most official plans are removing the condition to require water, but some of them haven't. Gillies still requires water, for example, and Gorman Ware still require water, but O'Connor Township just redid their official plan and they no longer require those. And yes, the building code is going to require it at the time of building, but that's not part of creating a new lot. We are guided specifically by the official plan.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, we have this moved. Did we move and second this already?
Sorry?
No, okay. Can we get a mover and seconder for the resolution to remove the well requirements? David and Elizabeth, Conditions 5, and I remember reading this.
I feel like you
Oh,
did.
read it again.
You did.
I think I did.
It was
It's okay,
already
I'll
done.
read it again. It's already done. Anyhow, so we haven't moved and seconded, possibly twice. Is there anyone in opposition to this resolution?
No.
Seeing none. That resolution is hereby approved. And the last item of new business is the draft financial statements from auditor.
So I assume everyone's reviewed these. I think the only thing that's specific for us to note is that the board doesn't typically make a surplus. We don't want to make a surplus. So we take whatever surplus is identified in those audit statements in draft form. And we transfer that into our high interest savings account. So in this year's case, since we will be removing money from our high interest savings account specifically to put into our checking account, I wasn't sure if we wanted to do put it into the high interest and then take it back out, but I was informed that that is the best way to do it so that it tracks the finances properly and it's smoother. So you'll see that the surplus this year is $9,205. So in the resolution before us this evening, it is recommended that we approve the draft audit statements, but with the following changes. And that board approves the transfer of the $9,205 in surplus for our internal restriction funds by the Secretary Treasurer to our high interest savings account at Rapport Credit Union.
Okay, is there any questions or concerns about that item? Seeing none, we will trust the advice that you were given, I guess. We have a resolution to direct you to do such. So can I get a mover and a seconder for the resolution, please? John and David West. It's been moved and seconded. The financial statements prepared by Grant Thornton be approved, received July 13, 2023, be approved with the following changes: that the Lakehead Planning Board approves the transfer of 9205 surplus for internal restriction by the Secretary Treasurer to the high interest savings account of Rapport Credit Union. Anyone in opposition to this resolution? Seeing none, that is hereby approved. We do not have a need for a closed meeting, do we?
No, we do not.
Which is good, because otherwise people would think we're hiding things. But we
And
don't,
we are not.
of course not. Okay, is there anything else for this meeting from anyone? I'm scanning my screen, seeing lots of shaking heads. It's a beautiful day and everyone should be outside enjoying it. So I will ask for a mover and a seconder for the resolution to close this meeting. Elizabeth and David. It's been moved and seconded that the August 3rd, 2023 regular meeting of the Lakehead Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 6:04 p.m. Anyone in opposition to this? Seeing none. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening, and we'll see you